There is no company that's even close, nowhere near. Given that it's an extremely volatile and flammable substance, it seems absolutely berserk. Hello, I'm Hayden Bluefield and welcome to the channel. So for the next video of Vlog My Mind, firstly apologies for the Monday video. I did upload it on Monday, however it spent like 3-4 days uploading. Apparently it's a longer video and the internet's very slow here, so it will be up at some point eventually. So on to Vlog My Mind. I've got only 4 points to talk about this week, but the first one I want to jump in with came out of, I was having I had a lot of thoughts within my journaling this week around what a Tesla is to me, like having that vehicle. I've talked a little bit in older videos about the intrinsic value, the extrinsic value, but I've done a lot more thinking around what it actually is to me and what it represents. So I wanted to jump in with exactly that, and I've come up with sort of 3 main points, and I had 2, but the third one, I had a session with my therapist today, amazing, wonderful session that went really well, and I learned a lot. So the third reason came out of that session. So firstly, it's owning a Tesla, driving a Tesla for me is a physical manifestation of that life mission. Tesla's mission to increase the world's transition to sustainable energy, and I want to be part of that and see that my life can have an impact on that as well, not to the extent that Tesla will, but part of that is just simple little things that when you're talking to people, talking about the opportunities that are actually available today that people don't realise. Like when I have conversations with people about electric vehicles taking over, people very rarely do they realise the scale for which the technology's grown and how far advanced it is, and they still see it as something, often with a car with like a laptop battery in it where there's nowhere to charge and it's impossible to get around, and that you basically have to be an eco-warrior in order to drive one, and that you never get anywhere because you can't charge it. And the idea of like, well, what's the point in sitting at a charging station for 2 hours when I need to get from A to B? So there's a lot in terms of changing the mind frame, and even just when you apply first principles thinking. I literally had this before I jumped on, the first principles thinking, purely because I was having a conversation the other day about changing the national and global infrastructure onto sustainable energy, onto wind and power and solar power energy. Whereas we've all got this idea in our minds of we flick a switch and it's on, and we know it comes from coal and fossil fuels, but we don't really understand the process, or we don't think about the process. It's not relevant to our lives. And really, when you come down to the fundamentals of first principles thinking, what seems more realistic? The idea of being able to have a power source that generates energy and then is brought to us locally, and you can generate that energy at home with solar panels or with a wind turbine if you want. But the idea that it can be region to region, and whereas you compare it to the way in which we fuel our vehicles now, that has to come halfway around the world, be refined, and like go through this whole chemical process to turn it into petrol or diesel, and then be transported on vehicles powered by the same material that they're transporting in order for you to go to a pump and put it in. Like, it's just, and given that it's an extremely volatile and flammable substance, it seems absolutely berserk. The idea of just having a power source that absorbs energy from the sun, that then transfers that energy straight into your vehicle, and you can have that at home or have that at stations locally where that power is generated literally at the point of source, is then given at the point of source to customers. It just seems, you just think, why did we ever bother doing it the other way? So anyway, jumping on, first point is that owning a Tesla is that physical manifestation. It shows my alignment with this company's mission, and to me that's something beautiful, and I can't wait to be behind the wheel. And it means it's part of that conversation. When I'm talking to people having those conversations, I can say, literally, look, here's my car. I'll take you for a drive, experience it yourself. Here's how many miles it gets. Here's how it works. Here's how my lifestyle's changed. And it's actually now so much easier. Like even just with a van that's got 150 miles of range, less than winter. Even with that, just the concept of, yes, it takes 22 hours to charge from 0 to full, but I don't have to stand at a petrol station for 22 hours filling up my van. I just come home, plug it in, it charges up, done. Like the actual act of charging takes me seconds because I plug it in, switch it on, I then unplug it, switch it off. So it's just changing mindsets and getting an understanding of how our actions will change, and it actually works with more convenience in our lives, which people don't realise. So it's the physical, as I said, physical manifestation of that. It's just the living embodiment that I then get to represent that, and I get to be more ingrained with that company. I'm more involved. The second reason is more in terms of like when I'm socialising and going like on little skate trips for the day to different parts of the country, is that Tesla becomes the facilitator to those trips and those days out with my friends and I. So at the moment, I have a van with 2 seats. So if we're going anywhere and there's a crew of us, I'm not driving. So the question is like, who's driving then? And there's all sorts of different barriers around the idea of driving like an hour away and then all trying to like get lifts, get fuel, all these different things, especially when I was younger and we had less money. The idea of like paying petrol money and all that kind of thing, whereas having an EV so much cheaper to run. And I suppose the question is well, does it need to be a Tesla? It's just the idea of have a car and you get to drive your mates around. But the reason is, obviously, of course, it needs to be an EV. I want to be sustainable and I want to be using renewable energy and be part of the movement towards sustainable energy and part of the movement towards EVs. So it has to be an EV. But then when you think realistically, if you do want to go to parts of the country, like I love the idea of even just on little short breaks going to like the Lake District, not necessarily for skating obviously, but just going to the Lake District, going to Scotland, going to other parts of the United Kingdom. And so even if I'm as well taking an escape trip to further afield like Birmingham or such, it's a lot more difficult and challenging with something that is not a Tesla for the reason of range and efficiency on one hand, but on the other hand also the charging infrastructure. There is no company that's even close. Nowhere near. This is where Tesla's got the leg up, is that the charging infrastructure, while they've got a huge leg up on the fact that they are much more efficient and they do get better range, is that the charging infrastructure is unmatched and it's not going to ever be matched at all. And the reliability of them, the power they have and the speed at which they can charge at is just unprecedented. So that's the reason why it needs to be a Tesla, because it's all part of that demonstration of as well taking people on those trips. Is yes, we're able to go somewhere and I've just got to charge up, we'll go stop at this service station, I'll get a coffee, I know on my maps it tells me there's a Tesla charging point that's available, charge up for 15 minutes, suddenly I've got loads of range that will get us there and back again. So it's incredible, and it demonstrates to people, especially when I'm thinking of my friends that take the piss out of me for the idea that I have to charge my van up for 22 hours in order to go like to the shops. So I get to demonstrate to them, no, look, literally, we've plugged into a supercharger, we've gone and grabbed a coffee, we've come back, and in that time that we've all been to the loo and whatnot, we've now got enough charge to move on. Like, compare that to charging. Normally, we'd come back and I'm like, right, I need to go to the fuel station and charge up, whereas no, it's done. I literally plugged it in, I'm now done, go on my phone, say that I'm done. I can even arrange that before. I can tell the Tesla charge up to this point and then we're done. So it all becomes much more convenient. And that's what I want to demonstrate, is the convenience, the ease and the simplicity it brings. It's wonderful. The third reason that came out today from a therapy session was paying back the debt to my past self, which was really interesting. So to go into the depths of that is where I'm coming to a position where the money I have is vastly changing. I'm starting to make more money than I've ever made before, especially in terms of actually having profits. So yes, I've seen in my company turnovers of tens of thousands of pounds a month, tens of thousands of pounds coming into my account or a company account. Whereas now I'm starting to see large sums of money of profit. So I've actually got money to work with month on month that's more than it's ever been before. So that, though, has been, in my younger years, at a cost of I never had any money. So since I was 9, I've made my own money. When I was in primary school, I used to, start making my own money at 9 years old. So and from that age, it's pretty much been a scarce resource. I've never really had any. And every pound I make, every penny I have to be careful of and have to think about, to the point, like, if I was going to a corner shop to get a snack, if I would only ever buy things on sale or reduced. I couldn't just go in and buy a chocolate bar that was like 59p or whatever. It was far too expensive. So it's always been a scarce resource. I've always had to work hard, and especially when I started my company, I was working every single day. My routine was literally wake up, start work, and go to bed. And then I would wake up and do that like every day of the week. And even the days that I wasn't working, I was working in somewhere or other. My brain was always switched on, and I really struggled mentally and emotionally to actually switch off and be able to have a day. Because if I did have a day out skating or with my girlfriend or with family doing something social and fun, I couldn't be present in the moment because I was constantly thinking, I'm not working. Why am I not working? I need to be working. Why is this not? What am I doing? Get back to the office. Get back to working on your mission, your vision, and building this company. Why are you not doing that? Why? And it was just, to actually be free of that is one of the most incredible things now, today, to actually be free and have the ability to be present. It's still something that's a work in progress, but it's on an upward trajectory. But so in running that company for years, I wasn't paying myself. So I was building a company, seeing the turnover increase, but the money I had wasn't increasing. So I was still scarce, but I was actually working harder. But then I didn't need so much money because I wasn't going skating, I wasn't going on trips, I wasn't going on holidays. And so now the tables are turning, and this is where it comes to by driving that Tesla, it's me paying that debt back for those years of hardship where I was grafting. I didn't have money to my name as such, didn't have the ability to just spend money how I wanted and be able to be a bit frivolous with it. Is by having this vehicle, it's another physical manifestation of that. It's a way of saying like, thank you to my past self, and now let's enjoy the future, which I think is really wonderful. It seems like it puts a nice twist on it, and it feels nice to know that there's this product that it's not about. Yes, there is the extrinsic value of it, where it's like, oh, this is a cool car and I'll be cool because I'm driving this cool car. But now it holds so many intrinsic values, and I just think that's really wonderful. So that's my point about why I want to own a Tesla. And moving on from that, to bring back an old point that I constantly go on about is Mo Gaudat's Slow Mo podcast. And I wanted to touch on this episode with, I hope I say the name right, Yulong Phubten. He's a Buddhist monk. But just in the episode, I highly recommend you watch it. I'll put a link in the description so you can check it out. But they go through the step-by-steps of manifestation? Go through the step-by-steps of meditation. And that for me has done wonders. Just to actually, for a while since I started meditating, was always sort of thinking, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? Is this what it's supposed to feel like? But by listening to that episode, it gave me so much more clarity. It was really quite an incredible eye-opener. So check it out right now. And it just gives you the step-by-steps of what meditation is, how to do it, how to start, really beautifully, really peacefully. And even at the end of the episode, they go through a guided meditation. So it's absolutely wonderful. So do make sure to check it out. Which brings me on, because I jumbled in my words there a minute ago, manifestation boards. So I created a manifestation board, and I think it'd be quite interesting to do a video in detail of what the manifestation board is, and what all the details mean, what all the pictures are. I haven't finished it, but anyway, created it. And the power of manifestation, which I was a bit hesitant of like, oh, does it actually work? And there's things as like we're setting these goals, the 7 goals I've got for March, is that by having them at the forefront of my mind, by constantly looking at them, I'm actually bringing them closer and I'm achieving them quicker, which is quite incredible. And I definitely would say if I didn't write them down and I didn't have them and I didn't look at them regularly and think about them and make content on them, they wouldn't be coming this quickly. It'd be a much longer process. So try it out. But on my manifestation board, one thing I'd created it, and it was all around finances, work, and personal hobbies and such that I want to develop over time, and personal connections I want to make with people. But one thing I thought, I better put something on in relation to skateboarding. So I pondered what could that be, and I thought, well, when I was younger and started skating, I always loved the idea of being a professional skateboarder, and sort of let go of that when I went into business. And it's something that I wouldn't want to be paid to be a professional skateboarder. I wouldn't want to be a professional skateboarder, but I love the idea of being sponsored. I love the idea of being part of a team, part of a community that we are actively going out, producing, creating like video parts. So we're going on trips. We've all got this common goal of we're going to skate, get some clips, and we're all there to motivate each other and boost each other. And with that, you're skating with people that are like far better than you. You're being pushed. You're learning a lot quicker, learning a lot more. So being part of a team. And I thought about like what brand in the UK do I feel I resonate with right now? What do I like the look of? And so I picked the company, and lo and behold, literally the next day, the guy that runs the shop I skate for, literally the next day in a group chat messaged me to say, keep uploading the clips to Instagram and keep working on your next video part because I'm going to try and get you on this team. And it was that company. So that just like absolutely blew my mind that quite literally one day, because he mentioned his connections with the company and said about it, and it would come up in conversation, but I'd never said anything. I never said any interest in the idea of it. I think I'd mentioned the idea of being on a team, and we'd had a bit of a conversation about board companies and shoe companies. But yeah, it was funny. It just blew my mind that it actually happened, that I put it on my manifestation board, and the next day, lo and behold, I got the message to say I'm going to try and get you on the team. So get manifesting. The last point I'll only touch on briefly because it's just the start of my learning is many people are now aware that Facebook has now become Meta. While we still have the platform of Facebook, the company, the parent company, is now Meta. And so I've been doing a lot more research into the metaverse, of what it is, how it will work, and truly this is something that will change the way we live forever. And we will see this, because I knew I knew phones were becoming outdated. I knew they were on their way out, but I just couldn't understand how. And so the thing I struggled with phones was the thing that we love is the idea, or I personally do, is the idea to capture a moment, to take a photograph, to film something, to create that little video. And that's where I struggled with how would phones go. And there'd have to be a way that we could have imagery and video stored on a cloud-based system where we can access it and share it with our friends. So that's the thing that I struggled with. And now seeing what the metaverse is, that's how I understand. That's where it's going. That's how the lives will change. That's how we will progress. That's why phones are going to be gone in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 generations of mobile. So while I'm recording this on an iPhone X, although we're at the iPhone 12, I will be very surprised. We will not see the iPhone 16. I think probably the iPhone 15 at a push will be the last. Maybe not even that. We might just see the iPhone 13. They probably won't make a 13. Either way, we might see one more iPhone. I'm sure Apple will try and rinse it for another 6, but we'll see. Give it 5 years, we will not have phones. And that's why, because we're living in the metaverse. But this becomes, it's very exciting and it's very nerving, the idea that we'll have this virtual augmented reality that is indistinguishable. And it's something that we're still years from, but this is what I want to put into my book, is obviously talking about the metaverse and how it will get to a point where we will find it very difficult to distinguish between reality and augmented reality. The idea that you can create the life that you lead, it opens a lot of questions of what will we do, and will we have any drive to do anything in life, and we can create the life we want on the metaverse. If I want to be Hugh Hefner in my Playboy mansion, I can create that on the metaverse. If I want to be a professional skateboarder, I can create that on the metaverse. If I want to go get a coffee, I can create that whole experience. But the metaverse takes over when we can experience every sense. I can't remember, I'm sure there's a quote that's like, when I feel the wind on my face, that's when the metaverse takes over. So look into it and let me know your thoughts. That'll be a really exciting time, very nerving, and it can go extreme ways either way. So it'll be interesting to see how this technology develops, especially given that it's Facebook that's kind of taking the lead quite a lot, but there's still a lot of other VR based companies, so it'll be interesting. So that's the update for this week of Vlog My Mind. Be sure to click subscribe and like, hopefully that would be nice if you could. And see you next week. Bye.